All right, we're going to quickly look back at multiplying monomials, okay? Except this is going to be a combination where we multiply monomials by multiple terms, or what we call those polynomials, okay? Now, you're going to need to remember or recall our product rule, especially when we're dealing with exponents, okay? Product rule tells me that you do what with exponents when you multiply them? Add them. So we have x, and it's going to end up being a plus b, okay? So here, we're going to multiply on number one, guys, on these that we're looking at. We're going to multiply this h across all of those terms inside the parentheses. Now, if you guys remember, probably middle school, even last year, when you talk about multiplying a term across other terms, that is considered to be the distributive property, okay? Make sure that you guys know that is distributive property. That's the term that we're going to use. When you multiply one term across multiple terms, that is the distributive property. Okay, so here if we're looking at number one, guys, we're going to take the h, we're going to distribute it to the first h, and then we'll also distribute it to the 4 as well. So when we multiply h times h, what is that going to be? Not 2h, h to the second. We got to be careful there. It is like if it was 2, it would be like multiplying it by 2, but we've got to be careful there that there's 2 of the same, so we square them, okay? And then we have h times 4, which is going to be what? Plus just 4 what? 4h, okay? All right, so looking over at number 3, we got to distribute the first term, the monomial, 9a, 2a, and 1. So 9a times a, that's going to give me what? 9a squared. 9a squared plus, and 9a times 1 is just going to be what? 9a. All right. I feel 4, 5 are going to be very similar to the ones that we look at upcoming. So let's go ahead and let's go to number 6. All right, we got a negative 4g squared times 2g. So we've got the negative 4 times the 2. That's going to be what? Negative 8. G squared times g. That's going to be what? G to the third. Remember, recall our product rule. Add our exponents when we're multiplying. Okay? Now distribute the negative 4g squared to the 7. So really, it's just negative 4 times the 7 is going to be what? Negative 28 or minus 28. And that's just going to be g squared. Okay? All right. Let's skip down to number 7. Now, we've got one term, one monomial, but we've got to distribute it across 3 terms there. But it doesn't really change anything that we do. Now we just have to distribute 3 times. Okay, so x times x squared is going to be x to the what? Third. X times the negative x is going to be negative what? X squared. And then x times 3 is simply just what? 3x. Excuse me, plus 3x. Everybody good there? All right, let's go to number 8. 5m squared times 3m squared minus m minus 7. So let's distribute 5m squared to everything in the parentheses. So 5m squared times the 3 is going to be what? 15. And then m squared times m squared is going to be m to the 4th. Good. And then 5m squared times a negative m. Negative 5m. Oh, that's way up there. There we go. Negative 5m to the 3rd. Good. And then we have 5m squared to 7. That's going to be what? Negative 35m squared. Everybody good so far? All right, number 10, we've got negative 2x distributed across those 3 terms. Negative 2 times the 6 is going to give us negative what? 12. X times x squared is going to be x to the third. Good. And then we have negative 2x times that negative 12. That's going to be positive what? 24. X to the square. Okay? And then we have a negative 2 times 18 is going to be what? Negative 36 x. All right, now looking at 11, guys, we've got a coefficient with multiple variables here. But again, you only distribute to each piece that applies. Okay? So here we've got negative 3xy times the x squared. Okay? 3 times that x squared is still going to stay 3. The x times the x squared is going to be x to the what? X to the third. And y, we don't have anything to add to it. There is no y. Okay, now we'll distribute it to the xy. So it'll stay plus 3. X will be what? X squared. And y will be y squared. Yep. And then we look at the last one. Now we distribute the 3xy to the y squared. It'll stay a positive 3. X will stay x. And y times y squared will be y to the third. Everybody good? Okay. All right, let's look at 12. All right, we've got 5r squared s squared. We're going to distribute that across to those 3 terms as well. All right, we got 5 times the negative 2. That's going to be what? Negative 10. R squared times r squared. R to the 4th. And then we end up with just s squared left. And then we have 5 times that 3 is going to be plus 15. R to the third. And s to the third. And then we have 5 times that negative 4. That's going to be negative what? 20. And it's going to be r squared and s to the 4th. All right, now we're looking at 14. Really, the only difference here, guys, is just our exponents have increased instead of being 2 or 3. Now we're looking at some where we got 4 or 5. Okay? All right, so we got negative 4 c to the third d squared distributed. So negative 4 times that 9 is going to be what? Negative 36. C will be raised to the power of 5. And d will be raised to the power of 4. Good. And then we have that negative 4 times the negative 4 will be positive 16. And then, let me fix that. Positive 16. And then we have c will be raised to the power of, and d will be 7. The first thing that we're going to have to do is distribute. The next thing that we're going to do is going to be simplify. Now, we will simplify by combining like terms. And then we will also have to make sure that they are in standard form. Okay, so we're going to distribute, simplify, and then just double check to make sure they are in standard form. All right, looking at 16, let's distribute. So we've got negative 2x times 3x. That's going to be negative what? Negative 6x squared. Negative 2x times negative 4. It's going to be positive what? 8x. Okay? Now, after that, we don't have anything else to distribute. So simply, I would just fill in what we have left with the expression. So that would just be plus 7x. Okay? Now, coming below, we're just going to simplify or combine the terms that we can. We can't combine anything with the 6x squared, but we can go 8x plus 7x, and that's going to give me what? Plus 15x. We good there? Okay. All right, let's look at 17. Now we've got basically two expressions. We have the first one here, and then we have the second one here, and then we'll go back and then we'll combine those terms together. Okay? So 5w times that negative 7w is going to be what? Negative 35w what? Square. Undo. Negative 35w, excuse me, square. All right. And then we have 5w times that 3. That's going to be plus 15w. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and fill in what we have on the second half, or the second expression. 2w times that negative 2w is going to be what? Yep. So negative 4w to the third. Then we have 2w times 19w, which is going to be what? Plus 38w what? Squared. And then 2w times 2 is going to be plus 4 what? W. All right, now looking at these, now we're simply just going to go back and combine the terms that we can. Okay? All right, so remember, starting with alphabetical order, and then we go largest exponent. So, alphabetical order, we have all W's. Let's go to the largest exponent, which is going to be what? Negative 4w3. We don't have anything that we can combine it with. Okay? Now, like I told y'all yesterday, guys, sometimes it helps if you just go and cross that out, and it lets us know that we no longer can use that when we're combining terms. Okay? Now let's go back and let's do the w squares. So we've got negative 35w plus 38w squared. What's that going to be? 3w. So plus 3w squared. And then cross those out. And then we have 15w plus 4w is going to be what? Plus 19w.